I always try to figure out what it is. Like, is there some hidden agenda they have? Are they being like paid, or
By
are
the
they
way,
just stupid?
Happy Dad is a good beer.
You like
Good
it?
seltzer. I
Let's
do
go.
like it.
I love it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's really good.
Yeah. But I always wonder that, like, are they just stupid, or is there some hidden agenda?
Add to that agenda that we mentioned, right? Now, this is the party. We have a joint session of Congress. And I once went to a State of the Union and I sat in the upper chamber when Barack Obama was president. He comes out, I stood up and I clapped. I respect the office of the presidency. Do I like Obama? No, I couldn't stand his policies. I was one of his biggest critics, but I respect the office of the presidency. So they didn't stand for the first lady. They don't stand for the president. You have the mothers of Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungary, mothers that lost their daughters because of Joe Biden unvetted illegals. They couldn't stand for those parents that lost their children. They couldn't stand for a young 12-year-old man that beat cancer and became a Secret Service agent that night, which was a cool moment.
Yeah, very cool.
They couldn't stand for the wife of a slain officer, a hero. They couldn't stand for a young man who lost his father and was told that night that he got a West Point commission. They sit there and they hold up bingo cards like a bunch of petulant, angry, bitter children. If that's the party, I'm like, okay, stay right in that lane, because you'll never win another election that way, in my view.
Do you see any Democrats like flipping? I saw even like your friend Stephen A. He's been a little more outspoken. He and I
had gotten into a fight this morning. First thing in the morning, he starts in on me. I love Stephen A. But first thing this morning, he starts in, and he's quoting Jim Cramer. I'm like, if you took financial advice from that idiot, that makes you even dumber than him. He was talking about tariffs. And then I literally start hammering him with information that he didn't have. He goes, I need to study up on this. That's pretty funny.
He's saying he wants to run for president, right?
He doesn't want. Hell no, he's not running for president. That would be the last thing he'd ever do. It was a cool moment, though, on Hannity when I was interviewing him at the height of all the noise about him running.
Good. Yeah.
He has the White House in the background. I'm like, really, Stephen A?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He's just playing it up.
Yeah.
He's having fun.
If you had to predict, what do you think the Democrats do in 4 years? Like, who's going to be the face of the party?
The one thing I'd warn Republicans is don't say it's game over. I've heard that prediction many times over the course of my career.
Yeah.
That's the end of the party.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely in disarray.
A lot can change, though, in 3 years, right?
A lot can change. A lot is going to depend on peace and prosperity at the time. Donald Trump has taken on the most transformational, consequential agenda. But every single agenda item is rough. How do you deport, all of the known terrorists, murderers, rapists, cartel members, gang members that Joe Biden and Harris allowed in this country? How do we find them? How do we end war in Europe and war in the Middle East? The Trump economy hasn't been put in place yet, so he's got to get a reconciliation bill through, which in the U.S. Senate is like the heaviest lift in the world. Every one of these items, how do you restore law and order in America's cities? How do you become energy dominant? Every single issue now that he's taken on is a very heavy lift. And hopefully Republicans, with their small majorities in the House and Senate, hopefully they'll be able to stand by that agenda, get it through, and give it time to percolate. It takes a little time to take effect, and they will be judged on their success at the end of the day. That's for every politician. Now, in the meantime, Democrats are going to do nothing but flail, demonize Trump. They revert to form. The only thing they know is Nazi, fascist, racist, Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini. I mean, I'm so sick of hearing the name calling. And
yeah, it doesn't stick anymore, too. It's just...
If it would have stuck, they would have won the election.
Yeah.
Right? Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and Bernie Sanders, the leaders of the party.
Who's the most sane Democrat, in your opinion?
I don't know. That's a bit of a...
If you had to choose one.
Probably right now the most reasonable sounding is John Fetterman.
Okay. I don't know too much about him.
Well, Fetterman's a senator from Pennsylvania. And I went hard at him when he was running because I was supporting Dr. Oz, who's a friend of mine. And I never expected him to be as reasonable as he is. There are other Democrats that are pointing out that they're failing, their message is off. But at the end of the day, who are the louder voices? Chuck Schumer's never going to deviate. He wants power too much. He's not going to go against the radical base of that party, in my view.
When you interview Trump, since you guys have such a close friendship, how do you turn off that friendship button and kind of keep your integrity and keep him in check, quote unquote?
There's nothing I won't ask him.
Because that's tough as a friend,
Not really, not with him. I mean, because he sits there in the Oval Office all day long and he spends an hour answering questions from a hostile media. Mm-hmm. There's nothing I'm going to ask him that they wouldn't ask him themselves.
Yeah.
And so I just, whatever the question is, whatever the issue of the day is, I'm doing my job. At that point, he's doing his job.
Because you can't agree with him on maybe every single thing he does, just like
most of it.
Most of it.
Yeah.
But if there's something you don't agree with him on, you always press him, I noticed too.
I mean, there have been times we've had conversations. I'm like, what are you doing? And there are times if I do a show, he doesn't hesitate to say that show sucked. He has told me.
Really?
He did not like my interview with James Carville. Now, Carville in that interview, in fairness to Trump, was lying through his teeth, and I fact-checked him the next day. He kept saying, fact-check me. I said, you're wrong, James. You're wrong, James. And so he goes, fact-check me. So the next day I was on the air, I fact-checked him, and he was wrong on all of it.
What do you think about his whole policy with Canada and Greenland? Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? I saw J.D. Vance just recently went there too, right?
He did. He went there. His wife went there with him as well. I think Mike Waltz went there. I'll make a prediction. I think the people of Greenland will separate from Denmark. I think they'll claim their independence. And Trump being the ultimate negotiator. The more you know Trump, he's in a perpetual state of negotiation. He doesn't stop negotiating. Mm-hmm. If I want an hour interview, I ask for an hour 15. I start there. Or let's say I really need for the full hour, 43 minutes to get an hour in. And I'll say, you got to give me the full hour. I'll give you 20. 50 minutes will get me over the top. I'll give you 30. All right. So I'll end at 35. Knowing that I'll keep him in the chair till 43 and get the full hour. You
kind of have his number on negotiations now with the interviews.
No, it's not that, but but I just know he's going to negotiate.
Yeah,
and that's what he's doing with all these countries with tariffs. The fact that the media, after all this time, doesn't understand him, to me, kind of speaks volumes about how stupid they are. Mm-hmm. Because they can't get beyond their visceral hatred of him or Trump derangement syndrome. Mm-hmm. It's like if I took in your seltzer, if I took Alka-Seltzer and I dropped it in, it's going to bubble and fizz. Trump says one word, they bubble and fizz, let off energy. They scream, I hate Trump. He's dangerous, threat to democracy. And meanwhile, they sit by idly silent when Elon Musk is under fire for no reason at all, and they're firing bullets into his dealerships, and the Molotov cocktails at his vehicles, and putting, ablaze his charging stations. For what reason? What did Elon Musk do that engendered this hate or brought upon all this hatred? Nothing. He saved astronauts that were lost in space and abandoned by Biden. This is the guy that, after Hurricane Helene, sent free Starlink connections when they had no communications with the outside world to help them out for free, help people in Tennessee also, help people in California after the wildfires. This is a guy that's working with Neuralink to hopefully help the blind with the combination of AI be able to see again, and people with spinal cord injuries to be able to walk again. And now, because of his association with Trump and the fact that he's identified hundreds of billions in waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption, they don't like him for that reason. I think, frankly, he's a hero for discovering that.
Just even what he did with X. I mean, I feel like
I feel like
free speech is really back. Even just as a creator, I've noticed the difference. And Elon really started that wave. Like, he didn't have to buy X, but I think what he did with X too put a lot of pressure on all the other social media platforms.
Totally agree.
As well, right? So, I mean, that was huge.
Well, you're not being canceled on YouTube anymore,
no,
right?
Exactly. No, I've even just seen the difference in the last, little while.
Meta, that's changed a lot. We'll see what happens with TikTok. I'm not actually. Funny story. My staff finally took my accounts away from me. Back
from you running them, you mean?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They took it because it became a full-time job.
Yeah,
I'd be up at 3 a.m. fighting Jimmy Kimmel and having these huge Twitter fights. You'd see these notices go out, Twitter fight, and people would, and I'd be, going back and forth with Jimmy Kimmel, who's a jackass.
He hates us too.
I hate him. He's an idiot. When he made the comments about Elon Musk, I went after him. I'm like, really, Bob Iger, you're the CEO of woke DEI Disney. Do you approve that message joking about domestic terrorism? Just like when he went after Melania Trump, the woman speaks 6 languages. English is her 6th language. She's reading to children, and he starts making fun of her accent. I mean, you're just an asshole to do that. And I went hard at him, and I made him apologize to me before I'd ever give up. That's how deep in the pain I went against him. And I just kept hashtagging Disney, Bob Iger. But I'm like, Bob Iger, do you approve this message? Does Mickey Mouse approve this message?
Definitely not.
Well, my radio show was first syndicated by ABC Disney, so I know they can't stand controversy. Anyway, all of those late night shows are on cancellation watch now. Their ratings are so bad.
Yeah.
You'll get 1,000 times more viewers to this podcast than they'll ever get viewers on any given night. And it's because they got so political.
I always think too, because I'm from Canada too. So since I supported Trump, I'm getting a little bit of flack now. Like,
where in Canada?
Just outside Toronto, Mississauga.
Did you play hockey?
Yeah, of course, my whole life.
Oh, me too. What position?
Center.
Center.
Yeah.
All right.
You still watch, or do you watch hockey or no?
Oh, I have seasons tickets to the Panthers.
Okay. Oh, that's your team?
Yeah.
I'm Leafs, so Panthers have been fucking us a little bit recently.
But they do have Kachuk waiting for the...
a fucking beauty, yeah.
Okay, and can you imagine if they get his brother? How cool would that be?
Yeah, and they just got Marchand.
Okay, but they've got 3 guys down now. They have 1 guy suspended. I think they'll be ready for the playoffs. How great was the finals last year?
They're a fun team to watch. Kachuk's one of my favorite
they went up okay, he's one of my favorites too. Yeah. They go up 3-0. It's 3-3. And the tightest Game 7 you've ever seen, right?
Yeah.
How great was that series?
No, it's good. And that stadium, too, I notice when I go watch Leafs games, the Panthers fans are so positive, too. Like, Leafs, if they get scored on, the whole building goes quiet. Yeah. When I went to a Panthers game, when Bobrovsky gets scored on, they chant his name after he gets scored on. Yeah. So, like, that's how positive of fan base.
He's a great goalie.
Great goalie. Yeah, and he's a wall.
It was just an exciting year for them last year.
Yeah.
I just haven't been able to get to many games because of my work schedule.
Yeah. But did you watch the 4 Nations?
Oh, yeah.
That was
of
good.
Course.
Canada needed a W there. We needed some sort of W at least. Because things are not going well there right now.
It's not a bad thing you're losing little Justin, right?
Yeah.
So However, I think Canada and the U.S. should be best friends. However, Canada's been screwing the U.S. with tariffs. They haven't paid their fair share when it comes to NATO, and they're doing nothing to control the border. In 2024, there were more illegal immigrants coming through our northern border, through Canada, than the previous 17 years combined. I'm like, you guys got to be good neighbors, good partners. You shouldn't be putting tariffs on our products. You know, there are certain agricultural, poultry products, dairy products that you can only sell X amount at a tariff of around 5 to 15%. And then after America sells X amount of that product, then the tariff goes up to 245%. So they kind of started the tariff war. And do I think after the election that will take place later in the month that will eventually find peace with Canada? I do.
Yeah, I hope what do you think?
I don't like when we boo each other's national anthem.
Yeah, it's not good, right?
Not cool.
Yeah. Also, guys, really quick, UFC 314 in Miami coming up. Massive card. I'm pumped for it. So we restocked fullsend.com with a bunch of UFC full send gear. You guys always ask us for more of this stuff. I love it. Super clean, super simple. So go to fullsend.com, grab some UFC full send gear. Also, if you're going to the fight, we're going to be selling it at the fight in Miami too. So if you're going, check out the stands, grab some UFC full send exclusive Miami stuff. They're really fire. I'm pumped for the fights. Let me know who you guys got. Let's get into the pod. What do you think of the Pierre Poilievre running, the conservative? Do you know much about him?
Yeah, I mean, he was winning by a lot. I hope he pulls it off. I think it would be better for the people of Canada. How do I describe this? I mean, Canada's become a socialist hellhole.
It's so different than when I grew up there.
Yeah.
Canada needs like a big comeback too, so.
The thing is, if Canada wants to pick a fight with the U.S.
Well, I don't think we're picking a fight. Not military-wise.
Well, and
we'll stick to hockey.
But in a sense, they're resisting lifting their tariffs, right? They're resisting paying their fair share to NATO. They're resisting securing their borders. I'm like, just do those three things and you'll have a good relationship with President Trump. It really is that simple.
I think too, as a Canadian, I think that the fact that Trump can even say, like he can even say, and it makes somewhat sense, like joining the US, that just shows what a state Canada's in. Like, that's not even something he should be able to say.
You asked me if I disagree with President Trump. I don't want Canada as a 51st state. It's too liberal. That means too liberal United States senators. No, thank you.
You think California's bad?
No, exactly.
Yeah. But there's a lot of conservative Canadians that are just fucking fed up too. But a ton.
But they're not the majority, right? So that to me would be two, senators from the 51st state that are going to be liberal. I don't need that fight. We have a hard enough time maintaining control as it is. We got 53 U.S. senators now. But I think we should be best friends. You mentioned earlier Greenland. I think once they vote for independence, mark my words, Trump's going to come in with a deal. I don't think I made him an offer they can't refuse. That's what I think happens.
And maybe that won't result in them officially joining, but maybe it'll be something beneficial.
It'll be a partnership.
Yeah.
With Panama, I think the same thing. We built that canal. We didn't build it for China. He's absolutely right. And we've got to reestablish our control and our presence there. There'll be a deal made in Panama.
Like you said, too, everything he does is a negotiation, too. Everything. So I think when he comes out in an interview and his initial position is all the way over here, Canada, you're joining us.
Right.
The deal's probably going to fall somewhere over here, But if you're starting all the way out there, you're probably going to get a pretty good result with the deal.
Everybody's got to remember, too, this guy takes up more space in people's brains than any other one human being that's ever been created. He lives in these people's minds, and he knows it. He knows what he's doing. And that's a part of him that people don't understand.
What do you think about when he says he's going to run for a third term?
I love it. Because they bubble and fizz, right? Like Alka-Seltzer in
And happy
And
to.
happy dad. Listen, it would be an interesting challenge. Ultimately, it's a constitutional issue. Um, but read the next sentence. I'm not thinking about it. It's way too early in my administration. But again, he's taking up space in people's minds, which I find funny.
Is that constitutionally something that could actually be possible?
Well, not according to the actual wording of it, 2 terms. But would that be a possibility? Maybe in some other respect. Yeah, but I'm telling you, he takes up space in people's heads.
Mm-hmm.
He's great at it.
Yeah. Do you think that he's going to be able to end the Ukraine-Russia war?
Cautiously optimistic. I think he's made progress. I love that he went hard at Zelensky. Now he's going hard at Putin. Putin has kind of used this opportunity to
push forward.
Yeah.
Didn't they just mobilize like 160,000 troops?
He just did. 160,000 is the exact number. What I don't like is I don't want to see Putin have an advantage and buy time and delay it. I think the only way this is going to end is, or if it's going to end, it will end this way, is Ukraine will not be a part of NATO. However, with their mineral deal with the U.S., that will ensure a U.S. presence in the region for decades to come. I think it may allow other European nations to put troops inside of Ukraine, again, creating a barrier, a defense, if you will. I think they will have to give up some land, some of the territorial claims of Putin. Everybody wants Trump and Steve Witkoff, who I like a lot, to go out there and say, Vladimir Putin's a murdering thug dictator. I happen to be of the thought he is a murdering thug dictator. If he had territorial claims on certain territories in Ukraine, there was a much better way than lining up troops on the border with Ukraine and that idiot Joe Biden saying, well, what are you going to do if he invades? Oh, it depends if it's a minor incursion. I mean, what do you mean a minor incursion? He's building up his army right on the border, you dumbass. He's about to invade the country. He already annexed on your watch with Obama, Crimea. Of course it's going to happen. And, then it becomes a full-fledged war. Then it becomes a proxy war because they're using hundreds of billions of our tax dollars to fight this war. And they fought it to a standstill. I admire the people of Ukraine. They fought bravely, valiantly, courageously. They did better than anybody ever thought that they would do. Everybody thought that Putin would march in there and devastate them. Here's where we are, though. 3 years later, however long later.
It's time to end it, right?
Okay, there's not going to be a country left. There's not going to be a place for people to return to. The mineral deal will not only provide a U.S. presence and a financial incentive for the U.S. to do it, but it will also give them the money that they will desperately need to rebuild. I'd love to see that. What's the point of people dying? So Joe Biden would call Putin all these names, probably accurate. But
what does that do?
Did it move the needle?
Nothing.
No, it didn't move the needle. The best thing that we could do is end this war and have a negotiated settlement. And if that happens, I think it's going to be in Europe's best interest, Ukraine's best interest. Putin, in that sense, will be rewarded for bad behavior, but at least the death will stop, the destruction will stop, and Ukraine can begin the process of rebuilding, which I'd like to see.
Yeah. Another one that scares me is the Iran situation.
Doesn't scare me.
No?
Well, one part of it scares me. If even the IAEA acknowledges that they're much closer to acquiring nuclear weapons than maybe we thought, the actual breakout time once you are able to get to 60% enriched uranium, the next step to 90%, which is military grade, nuclear bomb grade uranium, is very short. So they're on the precipice of having, according to my sources and public information, enough uranium to start out with probably 6 nuclear weapons. They don't quite have the delivery system yet. That could probably be acquired quickly. So time is short. Donald Trump gave them 2 months a number of weeks ago to negotiate. Every indication yesterday was they're giving us the middle finger.
And they've made it pretty clear what their intentions are, right? When they
chant death to Israel, death to America, I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
You know, we see what they've done in the Middle East. They have provided Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, the Houthi rebels. They provided all the weaponry. So they're fighting all these proxy wars against Israel. We saw twice now they have fired directly from Iran into Israel. When people, you know, take the side of Hamas, it drives me up a wall, because they lost on October 7th. They lost the equivalent of 40,000 Americans in a single day based on their population size versus ours, which is 10 million versus, 350 million.
Right.
I didn't finish the Canadian analogy. Canada's not going to win against the U.S. in any kind of battle or war, and you need us to defend you in Canada, just as a point. So they lost 40,000 people. And I ask liberals all the time, what part of murder, rape, kidnapping, torture, and beheading, because I've seen the videos, do you not understand? If you don't have that moral clarity, you don't have a soul, you don't have a conscience, and you don't have a heart. Watching those videos reminded me of the images I've seen in the Holocaust. I saw images of babies being beheaded. It's all there. The IDF has the videos. They won't release them publicly, but they did show certain people in the news media so they could be aware of it. Back to Iran. On the Iran question, it's simple, because Israel already proved after last April's attack, almost a year ago, that they could penetrate Iranian airspace, because Iran has a lot of landmass. Okay, so they can penetrate that system, which means they can do whatever the hell they want in that country. Now, if they get American bunker buster bombs, because all of their nuclear facilities are spread all throughout the country, coupled with the planes that we have that they would need to deliver those bombs, they could wipe out their refineries, you take away their money. Donald Trump was on the verge of bankrupting them his first term, and Joe Biden put a blind eye on sanctions and let them get rich again, just like just like Europe helped Putin get rich by buying their oil, which is why energy dominance here, we can supply Western Europe all their energy needs. We'll get rich and they'll have more security. I would say how this ends, you can't trust the Iranians at all. And how it ends is somebody's going to have to take out the refineries and their nuclear sites. And the sooner they do it, the better. The last thing I would want to have happen, even though it would be Biden's fault, Biden made them rich. Biden bought them time, 4 years, to enrich more uranium and get to this point. Trump inherited this problem. But if the weapons are made on his watch, they would try to blame him. It wouldn't be fair, but they would try. So I don't want that to happen.
I think I'm glad that Trump's
But I'm not a warmonger. I want to stay out of it. But if we have to take him out and just end that threat for the world, I promise you, and I know for a fact, every year, every single country in the Middle East would celebrate Donald Trump or Israel or both taking out Iran's nuclear sites and refineries.
Yeah, it's an interesting time right now.